United Air Express, United Airlines' new overnight package service.
We'll be like passengers.
Yeah!
United picks up and delivers
Better than passengers.
door to door,
Personal chauffeur?
overnight.
That's our favorite time of day.
Door to door, overnight. Packages prefer United Air Express.
Fly the friendly skies. You think they have a package lounge? Yeah.
Welcome back to Lincoln, Nebraska in the NCAA Men's Gymnastics Championship. We're halfway through the men's all-around competition. And Jim Mikus from University of Nebraska is preparing his mount for the high bar.
This is one of Jimmy's best events, the horizontal bar. He's always done well in this event, even as a high school performer. He has a tremendous amount of flexibility and rhythm. And there you can see that flexibility. Very nice.
Peter, what does it take to be a top-flight horizontal bar performer?
Well, it certainly takes an amount of daringness. There's a daring trick right there. Releases the bar and grabs it again. As well as that, the rhythm, grace, elegance, and certainly that flexibility. Now the dismount. And they love him here at Nebraska.
You better believe they do. Jimmy Mikus, who has an ambition of becoming a member of the 1984 Olympic team, scores a 9.65 on the high bar. Scotty Johnson, his teammate from Nebraska, prepares his mount on the high bar.
Scotty has a very dangerous sequence of moves here. He does 2 single-arm giant swings in the routine. Coming up, there's one, and the other. Very dangerous.
How does your shoulders feel when you do that?
That's a very tricky move, I'll tell you. If you let go at any point during that, you fly 10, 15 feet away from the bar. Little trouble there in the dislocate, but he handled it like an experienced competitor. Preparing for his dismount now. Winding up with the speed. Lift. Stuck a great routine, Scott Johnson. And let's take a look at that dangerous one-arm giant swing again. And here's the critical point, right at the bottom. Tremendous amount of force on the shoulder, arm, and wrist. What an amazing feat.
Amazing feat indeed, and Scott Johnson from the University of Nebraska on the high bar earns a score of 9.55. Phil Cahoy from the University of Nebraska is next on the high bar, and he has to be a little concerned. His performance hasn't been what he hoped it would be today so far, Peter.
No, it hasn't, but this is Phil's event. He owns the horizontal bar.
Phil Cahoy trying to establish his dominance in the high bar.
Boy, Phil's just another example of what Nebraska's done in the line of recruiting and coaching. They've gotten a lot of talent from the Nebraska area, but they also recruit some of the best gymnasts in the country. We're watching a tremendous high bar performance right now.
We're now in the 4th event of 6 on the all-around competition, and Phil Cahoy would like to really nail this one down to move up in the standings.
Boy, they love it here at Nebraska. Phil Cahoy just performed an excellent high bar routine, score 9.7.
UCLA on the pommel horse, Tim Daggett. A young man who, again, working in the shadow of a great gymnast at UCLA, Peter Vidmar, approaches the pommel horse.
Daggett could be one of the best gymnasts in the country in 1984. His progress looks right on target. Another couple of years and he'll be ready in the Olympic Games.
He's a very confident man, Peter. We asked Tim Daggett if he felt he had any weaknesses in gymnastics, and he said no. He'd like to improve on everything, but he doesn't feel as though he has any one weak event.
Well, this event used to be weak for him, but not anymore. Great performance. Timmy Daggett on the pommel horse.
All right, Coach Gerlach and his teammates congratulating him for that performance. And Tim Daggett from UCLA earns a score of 9.55. Jimmy Hartung, University of Nebraska, preparing his mount in the high bar. I guess he does this as well as he does everything else, doesn't he, Peter?
Yes, he does, but he never used to. High bar used to be the event that always pulled Jimmy down. Boy, in the last year, he's added some difficulty. One of the tricks coming up right here, the one-arm giant sequence. There it is. And another one. Great. Boy, by adding that difficulty, wow, look at that release move. Whew. He's smoking.
Peter, he's in his 4th event of 6 events in all-around competition. He finds himself in 2nd place to Peter Vidmar. Is he liable to take more risk now?
Well, he wants to get through his routines. They have plenty amount of risk in them. He's thinking about just being as perfect as he possibly can, and this looks like a perfect routine. Wow!
Jim Hartung, 2-time defending champion in the all-around competition for the NCAA, scores a 9.70 on the high bar. With 3 of the 6 all-around events completed, a concerned Peter Vidmar looks on as Jimmy Hartung completes his routine to challenge him for the all-around title.
Peter Vidmar's intensity is evident in everything he does. Even relaxing away from the gym, you know that he's a young man with a purpose. He wants to be the best collegiate gymnast in the United States.
This meet is extremely important to Peter. You know, for a couple of years now, he's just missed winning a championship that would have made his name as well known as Hartung or Connor or Kurt Thomas. And if he wins this competition, he definitely will be known as one of the top gymnasts. I definitely think Peter could be the best gymnast in the world. He's in the top 10 right now, and that's good company.
The NCAAs is a really important meet for me. I never realized how important it was until I did start going to college. There's a lot of pride at our school, and a lot of the people at school are really interested in how you do in the NCAAs, more so than in the USA Championships or even some international meets. The way the NCAAs is set up with all the pressure, it's very important for me to try to do well in them because it's a stepping stone for the Olympic Games.
The endless hours of training seem to come naturally to Peter, but it's not only the sharpening of routines and the perfection of moves that makes Peter a champion. Like most successful athletes, he combines a competitive fierceness with an amazing cool.
What makes him so good is he's a great competitor. He never is intimidated by any of his opponents. He's level-headed. He never gets uptight, and he uses the competition and you know the effects of the competition like adrenaline to his benefit.
In gymnastics, all it really takes is one bobble, a momentary lack of concentration, and you have lost half a point. And with the caliber of competition they have today, I think that anything can happen.
And it's these baubles that haunt the gymnast's mind. Peter Vidmar knows he can't afford any today.
Peter Vidmar, the young man who thrives under pressure, is about to prepare his mount on the pommel horse.
And this is a classic routine. Tremendous amount of difficulty. Look at the balance on single pommel. Incredible.
Peter, tell us what he has to do in order to meet all the judges' requirements on the pommel horse.
Well, he has to work all parts of the horse, do scissor-like motions, which he's doing right now, and swing with an amazing amount of grace and extension. Peter's routine on the pommel horse is equal to any in the entire world in terms of difficulty. This is just an incredible performance right here. Wow! Great routine.
Coach Sherlock and the UCLA Bruins mob Peter Vidmar as they await the score of his pommel horse routine. And there it is, a 9-9 on the pommel horse for Peter Vidmar. An unbelievable performance. At the end of 4 events in the all-around competition with 2 remaining, Peter Vidmar of UCLA continues to be the leader.
You finally qualified for the classic, the Grand Prix. Grand Prix by Activision, a video racing game you play on your Atari video computer system. Every video racing game till now was a trial run for Grand Prix. Grand Prix puts the feel of a Formula racer in your hands, the sound and fury of a real race in your head. But don't get carried away. It's only a game. Or is it? Grand Prix by Activision.
When Patrick Terry underwent surgery, little did he know one big danger was himself. For on his skin, he brought deadly bacteria into this sterile world. This surgical drape helped keep those common bacteria from migrating into the incision, thanks in part to the special backing developed by Phillips Petroleum, which helped keep this drape sterile before use. And that helped save Patrick from himself. Caring for your car and more, that's performance from Phillips Petroleum.
These are some of the champions making history at Augusta. These are the Masters. Next on CBS Sports.
Welcome back to Lincoln, Nebraska. With 4 events completed out of 6 in the all-around competition, Peter Vidmar from UCLA continues to lead, and we see here Jim Mikus from Nebraska getting ready for the floor exercise.
And he's going to be doing a triple twisting somersault for an opening pass. There it is. Great triple twist. Best one I've ever seen. That was beautiful. Boy, this guy has come a long way on floor exercise as well. What a dynamic, explosive tumbler Jimmy Mikus is.
Young man from Reading, Pennsylvania, is only a sophomore, and his lifelong ambition is to become a member of the 1984 Olympic team.
There's another beautiful tumbling pass, a 1.5 twisting Arabian dive roll. Very nice. And getting ready for the 3rd tumbling run. A full twist dive roll. As you can see, Jimmy really utilizes his twisting ability. And that gives him a good score on the floor exercise.
One of the most important factors that a gymnast must meet in the floor exercise.
I'd say power. That's the most important one. You'll see it right here in this dismount, a double back somersault. Stuck it, great routine. That was super.
What a dismount. Jimmy Mikus, the sophomore from the University of Nebraska, earning a score of 9.70 in the floor exercise. By golly, what a performance. Tim Daggett from UCLA is ready to start his mount on the rings. Timmy, again, a powerfully built young man.
We mentioned before that Timmy's very aggressive type gymnast, and this really works towards his advantage on this event, the rings.
Peter, do gymnasts work out year-round?
Oh, yes, they work out all year. You know, the competitive season lasts from about September to June, but during the other months, they're constantly trying to learn new moves and improve on their techniques. Now watch this strength move. Tim Daggett goes against gravity and lifts himself back up to a support. Just incredible.
Do you have to be a weightlifter to do something like that?
Well, the gymnast does a lot of work with his body weight. That's how he gets strong. Super routine.
Tim Daggett, a sophomore from UCLA, comes up with an outstanding routine on the rings with a score of 9.50. And in the floor exercise, Scotty Johnson from Nebraska prepares for his mount.
And Scotty's an amazing tumbler. He's going to be doing a full twisting double somersault right here. Great landing. Wow. Almost stepped out, but he has enough experience to save it. And now a double somersault in the pike position. Another good landing. Boy, he looks very dynamic right now.
Peter, what would happen if one of the gymnasts in the floor exercises touches that white border?
If he goes out of the area, which is 40 foot by 40 foot, he receives a 1/10 deduction, plus a deduction for making a technical mistake. So it can cost you.
Strength move on the floor exercise for Scotty Johnson as he prepares for his final pass.
His final tumbling run, a double somersault in the tuck position. Very difficult dismount. You're tied at that point, but that was done great.
Boy, did he ever stick it. Scott Johnson, a promising bright star at the University of Nebraska, the young junior in the floor exercise, comes up with a score of 9.50. Peter Vidmar from UCLA is preparing his mount on the rings. A young man who just does everything well.
When Peter started his national career about 3 years ago, rings was one of his weaker events. But boy, since that time, he's added a lot of difficulty. He's gotten a bit more physically mature himself. And now it's actually turned out to be one of his better events.
Well, one of the things Peter told us was that what he wanted to do most was improve on his weaknesses.
And
apparently, this is one of his weaker events. He spent a lot of time on it.
Yes, he has spent a lot of time. And you can see how strong and smooth he looks here. Look at that sequence. 2 whippets in a row. Very nice. And there's that strength part.
You'd think with this level of competition and the pressure he must be feeling now as the leader in this all-around competition that he might break.
He might, but he's not going to.
Why, I guess not. Peter Vidmar, who said earlier that he thrives on the pressure, and his parents right there approve of his performance. Peter Vidmar from UCLA with a score of 9.70 on the rings. Another competitor in the floor exercise right behind him from University of Nebraska, Jim Hartung, of course, is second right now in the all-around competition, preparing for his mount.
And Jimmy's trailing Peter in the all-around, so he's going to really need a super performance here. He's trying to go through this flawless.
Peter, this is his 5th event in the all-around competition. He has 1 more to go. Is he liable to go ahead and try some unusual move to make up that deficit he's currently feeling now?
I don't think there's much he could do. Right now, Jimmy wants to hit his routine the way he plans to do it. And if Peter Vidmar makes a mistake on the last event, then Jimmy could catch him. But it's going to be tough for him right now at this point in the contest.
Peter Vidmar judging in his own mind's eye Jimmy Hartung's performance. And boy, they really respect one another, don't they?
Yes, they do. They're very good friends. They've been on teams together, competing for the United States as a team. So they know each other real well. There's a competitiveness there, but I think one wants the best for the other. Getting ready for his dismount. Another double somersault. Yes, a very good routine by James Hartung.
What great height he had on his dismount. Jimmy Hartung, University of Nebraska, with double somersault and just nailing it, earns a score of 9.65. The standings in all-around competition after 5 events, we find Peter Vidmar from UCLA still leading, Hartung, Daggett, Mikus, Johnson, and Cahoy trailing.
Tomorrow, the split-second choreography of some of the greatest athletes in the world, the NBA on CBS. The Boston Celtics against the Philadelphia 76ers tomorrow on CBS Sports. This is CBS.
I bought my bathing suit, what there is of it, on the Riviera.
Very international.
Right down to my card. Last night, L.A.
Tonight, Broadway.
So worldly, so welcome, so worldly, so welcome. MasterCard International.
Dad, I got a part-time job. Great. I joined the Army Reserve.
Well, how can you do that? You're still in school.
It's the Army Reserve, Dad. You can join in high school now.
You can?
Sure, it's only 1 weekend a month during school, and the rest in the summer when I need a good job.
That's for sure.
I'll be learning electronics.
Just don't practice on the TV, huh?
When I graduate and finish training, my unit will give me a bonus. $2,000.
Hey, you did all right for yourself. Now, when I was in the service...
Find out how you can join the Army Reserve in high school. Call this number.
Charlton Heston in the greatest story ever told at 10:30.
Welcome back to Lincoln, Nebraska, to the NCAA Men's Gymnastics Championships. I'm Irv Cross, along with Peter Corman and Tim Daggett from UCLA. The young sophomore is preparing his run on the vault, and he could very well finish third in this competition.
Yes, he could. He's had a great day of competing. Cap it off here with a good vault. Excellent. Timmy Daggett is a rising star. We're going to be seeing a lot more of him.
Tim Daggett, young man from West Springfield, Massachusetts. Nothing but smiles as he receives a score of 9.50 in the vault.
And Pete Vidmar prepares to try to wrap it all up here with his last event, the vault, as Jimmy Hartung looks on and prepares for the pommel horse. Vidmar can not only win the NCAA all-around title here, but if he doesn't put his hands down or sit down, he may set a new NCAA scoring record. Here it is. Yes! A great vault by Peter Vidmar. That should do it for him.
Peter Vidmar from UCLA, completing his last of 6 events in the all-around competition. There's nothing but smiles as his teammates congratulate him on that vaulting performance.
And here it is. You can see the lift he gets off the horse. All he has to do now is land without a major deduction, and he's pretty secure in winning the championship.
Peter Vidmar, waving warmly to the crowd, finds his parents. Here's his mother, his father right next to her, Mr. and Mrs. John Vidmar, who watched Peter many, many times, has to be happy with that performance of 9.65 in the vault. Jim Hartung from the University of Nebraska is preparing his mount on the pommel horse.
Jimmy does a very difficult pommel horse routine. He realizes he can't make any mistakes now. See a lot of single pommel work. That's what the judges look for in a very difficult pommel horse routine.
Yeah, Peter, Jimmy is a tremendous competitor, though. He's won the all-around competition 2 years in a row in the NCAA championship. He's, of course, the defending champion now, and wanted very much to make it 3 in a row.
Yes, he did, and it's going to be tough for him right here, but what a performance he's putting out on the pommel horse, just the same. Great routine, yes.
But it won't be enough, as Peter Vidmar will be crowned the new NCAA Men's Gymnastics all-around champion. Jimmy Hartung, defending champion, came up short.
I'm really psyched. I never really, had real high expectations of this, so I'm just really happy.
Is this the best meet of your career?
I don't know if it is. I had some problems. I was really pleased with the way I performed in the World Championships, and in the American Cup, so it's hard for me to say. I have to really think about it in retrospect, but I can't really tell right now. I'm kind of excited.
Peter Vidmar is the all-around champion. There's much more NCAA Men's Championship gymnastics to come, including the exciting individual championships. But now let's go to Tim Ryan and Kathy Howard in Salt Lake City.